Most people never get taught how to believe in themselves, make good decisions, or handle pressure. That's what this show is about. My name's Lawrence. I'm a speaker and author who works with high school and college students. On this podcast, we talk about confidence, improving your decision-making skills, and how young people can take control of their future. You'll hear real stories, honest conversations, and practical ideas that actually help. And if you're an educator, youth leader, or someone who works with students, this show will give you insights into what young people really are going through today. With that said, let's begin the episode you came here for. Whether you admit it or not, everything has an effect. Because you may have heard the phrase that you're the product of the 5 people you spend the most time around. But instead of just thinking about the people that we surround ourselves with, what music are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of TV shows are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with gossip, drama, and chaos? Or are we surrounding ourselves with things that are going to build us instead of break us down? Welcome to episode 18 of my podcast. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about removing negative influences. It's as if we know what we want. Once you figure it out, the life that I want to have a healthy relationship, but I keep listening to music about cheating. That's probably holding you back. I want to have a good, stable career. I want to be the first millionaire in my family. I want to achieve these big goals. But if I'm constantly surrounding myself with music that says it's not possible, that the only way to become successful and make money is through crime, that I have to hurt others in order for me to move forward, that's probably holding me back. And at first, we think things like, man, it's just music. It's not that deep. But if something influences you a little bit every day, and every day after that, and every day after that, eventually, it's like building a house. Are you building your house with bricks that are strong and a good, stable foundation? Or are you building your house with termite-infested wood? And, it's really easy for us to make excuses and say, it's not that bad. But over a long span of time, we get what we surround ourselves with. And knowing the right thing to do could be pretty challenging at times. So this is why, once you've figured out a clear goal that you want to achieve, the simplest one, for our example, would be losing weight or building muscle, things like that. The process is very simple. Unless you have a medical condition or something like that, the process is this. Figure out what foods you're currently eating that are unhealthy and not getting you the desired result. Stop eating those and then eat the foods that are benefiting you. Because that's an example that shows the less we do things that hold us back, by default, the thing that helps us to move forward becomes a lot more clear and apparent. And the reason why this can be so difficult is because we get comfortable. We get familiar. I'm used to this right now. I'm used to being around these people. Even though I know they're not good for me. Lawrence, this is my friend from 3rd grade, and we have all these memories, and we have all these moments together. And I understand this is going to be very difficult. But there will be a lot of times in our life, especially if you're trying to move forward and achieve these big goals, there's going to be moments where you're going to have to make a decision. And that decision is going to be between, am I going to stay who I am right now, or am I going to do what is willing to become the version of me in my head? Am I going to be willing to end a relationship that is holding me back or hurting me, or this person is talking down on my dreams? Am I going to be willing to change up the food I eat? Am I going to be willing to put down the game? Am I going to be willing to go outside and talk to people? Am I going to be willing to get up in the gym? Am I willing to let go of the past in order to get the future? You cannot bring version 1 into version 10. It don't work like that. You cannot run the brand new computer on old software. And what happens is people try to do that. They think, oh, I'm going to have one foot in the door, one foot out the door. I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's possible. It's possible to do both, but you're not going to get the full experience of either one. In order for us to move forward, you can try to climb a mountain with a book bag full of bricks, but it's going to be a whole lot harder if you instead just put the bricks down. Sometimes those bricks are going to be people that no longer want to grow alongside you. Sometimes it's going to be old habits. It's going to be old ways of thinking. It's going to be food. It's going to be certain music. It's going to be certain places. It could even be certain family members. And it gets really painful to do. But the pain will pay off. I know how cliche it sounds, but this is how these things work. And I want to take a moment to make it practical for you. Lawrence, I get it. This is very motivational. I feel inspired. Do what I need to do in order to move forward. But how? How do I get past the pain point? Because right now you're in between the decision between I know what I need to do to move forward, but I don't want to let go of these people. I don't want to let go of these habits. I don't want to let go of certain things that I might be eating or certain shows I'm watching or certain music I'm listening to. I don't want to let go, but I know that I have to let go in order to move forward. So, Lawrence, how do I get through that pain associated with letting go? And my best answer for that right now is you have to have a strong enough reason to let go. You have to realize that who I have been so far is not going to get me to where I want to go. And it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but we got to make a decision. We have to make a decision. And it's not a decision that you make in some calm, you just sit down and think it out way. No, it's like a very deep inner spiritual kind of decision where you are willing to, quote unquote, sacrifice the old in order to get the new. But you have to see it as an investment into who you're becoming rather than a sacrifice. Because the word sacrifice makes us think that I'm losing, I'm letting go, I'm abandoning, I'm leaving. But actually what's happening is you're moving forward, you're gaining, you're investing, you're building. And in order for them to build a new house, you have to break down the old one. It's kind of like how if you wanted to build a skyscraper, you have to tear down the old house. And you have to be willing to ask yourself, am I willing to go through the pain of breaking down the old, getting rid of what was, in exchange for what will be, in exchange for what I will become? And at first, you're not going to fully know what's going to happen. You're not going to know. All you know for certain is right now. All you know for certain is what you've done so far and the result it has gotten you. And you have to ask yourself, all right, I've been eating these foods, I've been thinking this way, I've been treating my relationships this way, I've been listening to this music, I've been doing these things. Is that actually getting me the result I want? Is the way I'm behaving now getting me closer to the life I want? And we're going to make excuses. We're going to say, but yeah, I need to relax. I need to have fun. I need to blow off some steam. And true, I'm not saying that you need to work 18-hour days and never have fun. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have to look at what we're doing and honestly ask ourselves, is it getting me closer to what I want? It's a yes or a no. It's not a maybe, it's not a kinda, it's not a sorta. It's a yes or it's a no. Eating 5 Big Macs is not going to get you closer to the healthy body. Like eating 5 Big Macs every day, you are not getting closer to that healthy body. It's a fact. It ain't happening. However, if instead we started eating healthier food based on what you have available, everyone's in different financial situations, everyone has access to different resources. Some people don't live near grocery stores, so I get it. Do the best you can with what you got. Based on what you have, do the best you can. The music I'm listening to, if all I'm listening to is cheat, rob, and steal, is that going to help me to become the first millionaire in my family? I might become a millionaire, but not for long, because I'm committing crime. Is that music going to help me to get that relationship, that wife and 3 kids, that husband, that whatever you want, whatever you like? Is that going to get me closer to that? No, it's not, because if every day all I'm listening to is women only want your money, men only want your body, if that's all I'm listening to every single day, that's not going to get me a healthy relationship. Instead, how about you put on some gospel music? How about instead you put on some R&B love songs? How about you start exposing yourself to some stuff like that? How about instead of watching Real Housewives, you start watching something about a happy relationship? Like, I don't know, the Titanic. You can even watch that. Or maybe some Romeo and Juliet. Whatever you like. The point is this. You have to identify, what do I want? What do I need to do in order to get there? Who do I need to become? And what do I have to stop doing in order to get there? When you get a new phone, the iPhone 18 does not run on iPhone 1 software. It don't work like that. When you want to get a healthy body, you have to stop eating the unhealthy stuff. It don't work like that. When you want to get a level 10, you have to stop doing level 1. It don't work like that. It's like trying to, in the Bible, it's written like the old man and the new man. In other words, there's a current version of you, there's an old version of you who, that's what you're used to, that's what that's what is most familiar. But in order to become this higher version of you, this version of you that is the first millionaire in your family, this version of you that had that relationship, that had that car, that's in that college, that's living that life, that had that dream body, that's the new version of you. And the new version of you thinks different, talks different, acts different, eats different. The new version of you is different. It's going to be like you have to become someone new to get something new. And we're trained to think that, oh no, if I just do more, I'll have more. Depending on the context, that is true. Like if you work more hours at your job, you will have more money. That's true there. But when it comes to very big things, when it comes to life changes, when it comes to making big, massive results, you gotta be someone different, do something different to become something different and have something different. Now, that means, to make it very simple for you, what do you want? What do you have to give up to get it? If I want that healthy body, I gotta give up the unhealthy food and make the healthiest decisions based on what I have available. So yes, that might mean instead of eating McDonald's, you start eating Fruit Loops. It's still both unhealthy, but by comparison, it's less unhealthy. So you might not have the best resources available, you might not have the best options available, but based on the options you do have available, what can I do? Instead of listening to cheat, rob, and steal music, how about I listen to some happy love songs or some Macklemore or Lose Yourself by Eminem, something that like really inspires and uplifts you and gets you going. How about instead of influence myself with these negative people, these people who say, man, people like us don't succeed. It's no way. You can't do it. How about instead I start surrounding myself with some people who encourage me, some people who uplift me. And maybe you don't know people like that. Maybe you grew up in a real crab in a barrel mentality place. You got YouTube, you got podcasts, you got music, you got all these things. So you can surround yourself with that. You can surround yourself with some like affirmations. You can surround yourself with, some David Goggins edits. You have to remove the old influences and replace it with the influence that's going to move you forward. You have to let go of the old to get the new. You have to let go of what was in order to get what will be. You have to empty out the dead weight in order to climb the mountain, because you're trying to climb a mountain with a bag full of bricks. You're trying to carry up people who they don't want to do the work. You're trying to carry up habits with you that aren't going to benefit you. You're trying to carry up ways of thinking, ways of treating people, ways of spending your money, ways of acting that the old you used to do, but the new you, the version of you that has it all, the version of you with that car, that relationship, that body, that house, that college degree, that version of you does not do what the old version of you does. So, make a decision. Decide I am willing to do what it takes. Decide I am willing to become. Decide that I am who I decide to be. Because the outside world is going to try to bring you back. It's going to try to say, but, oh, you changed. You're acting different. You think you're better than us. I don't think nothing. I just am what I am. And you're supposed to change. Look at nature. The acorn does not stay an acorn. It becomes a tree. The caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The tadpole becomes a frog. Everything in nature is willing to change. That is naturally how things are supposed to happen. You have to change. It's natural to change. It is okay to change. The way you act at 15 years old and the way you act at 25 should be unrecognizable. The way you act at 25 compared to how you act at 50 should be unrecognizable. But a lot of people, they get stuck in the old version of you. They get stuck in who they've always been, that they stop growing. And that's why you can look at life and you can see people who are 50, 60, 70 years old still trying to act like they're the cool guy on the block. You see people who are 50, 60, 70 years old still outside on the corner acting how they did back when they was 25. You'll see people who 50, 60, 70 years old still acting like a kid. And I mean this with all due respect. But now we are in a time where you have the access to at least the knowledge. You have YouTube, you have podcasts, you have things like that. Now, money, that's a different thing. Finding a job, that's a different thing. But what you can do is figure out, what am I in control of? I'm in control of the music I listen to. I am in control of who I decide to be friends with. I'm in control of what I am in control of. I can't control where I was born. I can't control how I look. Well, you can change like your weight and stuff, but that's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you were born without arms and legs. I cannot control where I was born, how I was born, who my parents are. I can't change none of that. But what I can change is, what am I surrounding myself with? What I can change is, what am I listening to? What I can change is, what am I feeding myself? What I can change is the people, places, and things within my control. And when you know what you want, where you want to be, how you want to live, that is when you can remove the things that are holding you back and start adding the things that are going to move you forward. Instead of trying to build a house using termite-infested wood, you say, here's what I want. I got to take out the old. I got to remove the dirty pipes of my house. I got to fix the plumbing. I have to clean. I have to paint the walls. I have to do these things. I have to remove the old and replace it with the new. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I am passionate. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Share it to anybody you think might benefit from it. If you're a podcast host, school principal, or run a youth organization and you're looking for speakers, you can contact me at lawrence@lawrencecharris.com. Have a wonderful, blessed day.